Hello and welcome to College Russian. In today's lesson, we are going to be starting our first case, which is prepositional case. Okay, so prepositional case is the case that we use for denoting location. But first, before I start into that, we're going to talk about something called nominative case. Nominative case. Okay, so nominative case is the original form of a word, either a noun, adjective, or a pronoun. By the way, what's a pronoun? I, you, he, we, us, those are all pronouns, okay? So in Russian, nouns, adjectives, and pronouns change. The fancy grammar term for it is decline, okay? So all nouns, adjectives, and pronouns change depending on what you're saying about them. Now, the one form that doesn't change is the nominative case, meaning its original form, okay? Nothing's being done to it, nothing's being said about it, so it's just in its original form. Real quick, sometimes when you would need the nominative case, you've probably been saying it all along as you were learning the alphabet. So you already know the nominative case. And when you were learning about genders, you were seeing nouns in their nominative case. So just some other notes to keep in mind. You use the nominative when it's the subject of the sentence. For example, we were just talking about in the previous video, Mama любит Сашу. So underlined here is mama because she's the one doing the loving. She's the subject of the sentence. She's the person doing the verb, okay? So underlined is a noun in the nominative original case, okay? The other time you'd use nominative is when you're just presenting something. You're not doing anything to it. You're just presenting it. You're just saying this is or here is. So for example, это Москва. Вот Москва. Это Москва. Again, you're just presenting it. You're not saying, I love Moscow or I live in Moscow. You're just saying, oh, behold, Moscow, okay? Next, the other time you get the nominative case is when you're saying blank equals blank. So, for example, я американец, okay? I is in nominative case because you're just saying, you're the subject of the sentence, obviously. And amerikanец is in nominative because it's after an equal sign, meaning it's the thing that is, okay? So я американец, я студент, он президент, and so on and so forth. Those things are getting nominative case because nothing's technically being done to them. They're just after an equals sign or after an is, am, are verb. Okay? So that's when you need the nominative case. However, most of the time, especially if something's not the subject of the sentence, it's going to be in a case of some form, meaning the ending of it is going to change. Okay? So some of those times you would need a case is, for example, if the noun is a direct object, meaning something's being directly done to it. Let's look at these examples in English. I love Moscow. Moscow is the direct object because you're doing something to it, right? You're loving it, okay? I is the subject of the sentence, so that would be a nominative case. Love, what do you love? Moscow, okay? He knows Russian. Russian is the direct object. Something's being done to it. It is being known by him, okay? How about this one? I'm reading a book. What's being done to the book? It's being read, and you're doing it, okay? So I is the subject of the sentence, which in Russian would be a nominative case. Reading is the verb, and what are you reading? A book, direct object. So in Russian, that would get a case. We're not talking about that case today, though. That's called the accusative case, and you'll find that in another video. The version we're specifically interested in today is when when nouns that are followed by a preposition. So for example, prepositions are things like on, in, at, under, around, by, with, okay? So those are prepositions, and in Russian, every preposition gets a different case, and you just have to memorize which preposition gets which case. Okay, so for example, some examples of prepositions. I live in Moscow. So Moscow is the thing that it's in, so that would get a case in Russian. We're going to Moscow. To Moscow comes after to. That would get a case in Russian, okay? He lives near, there's our preposition, Moscow. So Moscow here would get a different case. So this would get one case. This would get another case. This would get another case. And you're just memorizing that. Okay, so the one we're specifically interested in today is this one right here. Prepositions to mean in, okay? So what's going to happen is that to say in or at in Russian, you have this one preposition, v, okay? So you can't just put this and the other word. You have to put v, and then you have to change the end of the word after it. So sometimes I'm just going to give you some English examples right now. Sometimes of where you would need to say in or at in Russian is with the following examples. Where are you? I'm in Moscow. So the place you're located in would get prepositional case. Where do you work? You're wanting to say at, so the thing you work at would get prepositional case. Okay? Where is my pen? The place where your pen is located would get, see, notice how you're saying in, and then the underlined is all the stuff that would need to be in prepositional case. All of that, all 4 of those words would need to get prepositional case. Okay, so now you're saying like, okay, tell me what prepositional case is already. Okay, so let's do that. However, I'm going to go kind of backwards. I'm going to assume that you're a relatively intelligent person because you're watching my video, and I'm going to let you watch or read these sentences and see if you can figure out what's happening, okay? I tell my students this is being a linguistics detective. Okay, so here's some keywords that we'll go over, and then I'm going to give you some example sentences and see if you, being the genius that you are, can come up with the rules. Okay, so v, we know that one is in or at. It translates different. We translate it in 2 different ways in English, but in Russian it's all represented just by this one small little preposition. Okay, the other phrase you're going to see in these sentences, я живу, I live. Another phrase you might see in these sentences is я учусь. Я учусь. Okay? So I'm going to give you the sentences, and I want you to see if you can figure out how to put something into prepositional case. Okay, so take some time to read these. Okay, so you might be noticing something happening here. Okay, how about this one? So maybe you came up with an idea, and now I want you to come through and look at these. So, это мой университет. Я учусь в университете. Okay, something's happening here. Это Москва. Путин в Москве. Okay. One more example. Это Украина. Киев в Украине. Good. Okay, so what I'm wanting you to do is put your thinking caps on and come up here and think, okay, well, right here it's Rostov, and now suddenly it's becoming Rostovie. Right here it's университет, and now it's becoming университете. Okay, what is in common? Okay, v something. Okay, maybe you got it, maybe you didn't. Let's discuss. Okay, so what's the rule about the prepositional endings? You want to say in blankety blank. The blankety blank, if it's masculine, meaning that it ends in a consonant, you add a y to the end. Okay, so I'm just giving you the rule. Now we're going to go back and look how that rule was applied. Oh, wrong way. Okay, so for example, это Ростов. That's the nominative case because nothing's being done to it. You're just presenting it, right? Oh, but now you want to say, I live in Rostov. Well, that's a different matter because we're putting v. We're saying in. So, see how the rule got applied here? Ends in a consonant. We want to say in Rostov. So we put v, and then we add this to the end. Okay? How about this one? Это мой университет. You're just presenting it. You're just saying, this is my university. Oh, but once you want to say at a university, then you have to put v, and you also have to add y to the end of the word to make it say at a university. Okay, so я учусь в университете. Notice how the v just sort of gets blended into this next word. Я учусь в университете. Okay, so these are both masculines, and that's why the y got added on to the end of it. Okay, so that's important to understand that it gets added. Okay, so now let's apply the rule with some practice. So read what this is. Это Washington. How would you say in Washington? В Вашингтоне. Good. Next one. Kiev. How would you say in Kiev. В Киеве. Okay. Next one. Office. How would you say in an office? В офисе. Good. Okay, so you're probably thinking, but why? Why does it do that? I always have students asking me that. But why? That doesn't make any sense. Okay, well, guess what? There are things about English that don't make sense either. You just memorize it, and you learned English, all right. Okay, so sometimes there are things in other languages that don't make sense. So if it's overwhelming you, just start memorizing set phrases. Just start memorizing how to say в Вашингтоне. Just remember that to say in Washington, this is how I say it. Okay? And eventually those rules will start to click for you. Okay, so that was the rule about masculine nouns that end in consonants. So what's the rule then about feminines? Okay, so let's look. If it's a feminine or a neuter, meaning that it ends in a, ya, o, or ye, you replace the final vowel with ye. Obviously, with something ending in ye, it would be redundant to place it with a ye, so that doesn't really matter. But for these three, you replace it with a ye. Okay, so let's look at how that got applied earlier. Это Москва. This is feminine because it ends in an a. And then you want to say Putin is in Moscow. So Putin в Москве. See how that a got replaced by the ye? That's how you say in Moscow. Это Украина. Okay, now you want to say Kiev is in Ukraine. Kiev в Украине. Okay? So notice I'm saying one thing about Ukraine in this sentence, and I'm saying a different thing about it in this sentence. That's why it's changing, because I'm saying different things about it, and it has to change accordingly. Okay, so you replace that vowel, the last vowel, with ye. Let's practice. America. How would you say in America? В Америке. Кухня, that means the kitchen. How would you say in the kitchen? В кухне. Окно, that means window. How would you say in the window? В окне. Good. And then this one's the redundant one. Море means sea. How would you say in the sea? В море. Good. It already ends in a ye, so you don't really need to replace it. Okay, so one thing to keep in mind, though, however, I know I just told you that yas turn to ye. That's unless it's an e-ya ending, which gets sort of treated as its own thing. So if you see an e-ya ending, it actually that final vowel turns to an e. So anytime you see these two together, e-ya or e-ye, that final vowel, the ya and the ye, actually go to e. So, for example, это Россия, Москва в России. Это Испания, Мадрид в Испании. Okay? And this is important to remember because a lot of countries end in e-ya. So you'll be grateful that you know this later on. Okay, so let's practice. Германия. How would you say in Germany? В Германии. Estonia. How would you say in Estonia? В Эстонии. Здание, which means a building. How would you say in a building? В здании. And notice how it doesn't really get pronounced as ee. It's just sort of held out a little bit. Okay? Общежитие means dorm. How would you say in a dorm? В общежитии. Good. Okay, so let's practice. So I want you to come up with sentences saying where this city is located in this place. Okay? So example. Москва в России. Okay, how about this city? Where is it located? Киев в Украине. Okay, how about this one? Нью-Йорк. Where's New York? Где Нью-Йорк? Нью-Йорк в Америке. Берлин. Где Берлин? Берлин в Германии. Где Санкт-Петербург? Санкт-Петербург тоже в России. Москва в России. И Санкт-Петербург тоже в России. Good. Okay, so here's some set phrases that you learn. I always recommend students start learning these things. If they're overwhelming you, just start learning specific phrases that pertain to you. Okay? So a question you can expect to hear when you first start introducing yourself to a Russian is they're going to ask, где вы живете? Где вы живете? which means where do you live? Okay? And you might respond in the following ways. Я живу. Now you're going to say in, so you're going to need в, and you're going to need to change the ending of the place where you live according to the rules I just taught you. So for example, you might live в Америке. Я живу в Америке. Okay? Another place you might live is Я живу в штате Орегон. Так. Another place you might live is Я живу в городе Портленд. Okay? So what do you think штат means? And notice how it turned into штате because you're saying in this state. And what do you think this word means? Город turned to городе because you're saying in the of Portland. City. Good. In the city of Portland. Okay? What if you don't live in America? Я живу в Испании. Я живу в Испании. Okay? Where specific? Где в Испании? A Russian might ask. Где в Испании? Я живу в городе Мадрид. You could also just say я живу в Мадриде. That would also be acceptable too. So you could say я живу в Орегоне. Я живу в Портленде. Okay? So that's the other way you could say things. But notice the ends of these words are changing. So start thinking now, how would you say the place that you live? Я живу в Париже, я живу в Москве, я живу в Вашингтоне, я живу в Нью-Йорке, я живу в Канаде. All different places where somebody might live. The other question you might get asked that's going to need prepositional case to answer is где вы учитесь? Okay, so where do you go to school or where do you study? So you want to say that you study at a university. Я учусь в университете. Я учусь в университете. Okay? What if you're young and you actually are still in 10th grade or something? What would you say? Я учусь в школе. Good. Okay, so real quick, we're going to read a dialogue. And I want you to notice how they put things into prepositional case. Again, using your basic knowledge, people are introducing themselves. They're going to ask, where do you live? And so on and so forth. I feel like you really should be able to make sense of this dialogue. Okay, so I'm going to read both parts of it, so it'll sound like I'm having a schizophrenic conversation with myself, but that's okay. Okay. Здравствуйте. Меня зовут Джон. Добрый день, Джон. Меня зовут Мария. Очень приятно. Мария, вы русская? Да, я русская. А вы? Где вы живете? Я живу в Линкольне. Где это? В Канаде? Нет, это в Америке, в штате Небраска. Вы учитесь, Джон? Нет, я не учусь. Я работаю. Правда? Где? В ресторане. Good. Okay, so what just happened in this dialogue? Okay, здравствуйте, меня зовут Джон. Добрый день, Джон. Меня зовут Мария. Очень приятно. Okay, this is two people introducing themselves to each other. So then John asks Maria, Maria, вы русская? And she replies, да, я русская. А вы? What do you think she's asking here? What would any polite person do? Good, you ask them. And you? Where do you live? Где вы живете? Then where does he live? Я живу в Линкольне. Так, so I live in... Where is that? Do you recognize that American city? Lincoln. Где это? What do you think she's saying here? В Канаде? So she's asking, where is that? Is that in Canada? And then what does he say? Нет, это в Америке. No, that's in America. В штате Небраска. Okay, so he tells her where it is. Then she wants more information. Вы учитесь, Джон? Okay, so she's asking him, do you go to school, John, or do you study? And he says, нет, я не учусь. Я работаю. Okay, so maybe if you don't know what this word yet is, just try and figure out the rest. So he's saying, no, I don't go to school. What might somebody do if they don't go to school? Just think. And then look down here to where he's saying he works. В ресторане. Okay, so he works, and then she says, правда? Meaning, really? Где? And of course, he wants to say in a restaurant, so naturally he has to put it into prepositional case. So there's an example for you of prepositional case. I hope you're not too discouraged. You can go back over and watch this lots of times. But remember, when you start to panic about cases, just resort back to learning set phrases. So for right now, if you didn't get anything else out of this video, at least get how to tell people where you live. So maybe the city that you live in. Я живу в Нью-Йорке. Я живу в Америке, в Канаде, в России. Okay? Hopefully you're not watching this video if you're living in Russia. But at least get that out of this video, that you can now know how to tell people where you live using prepositional case accordingly. That's all for this video. Thanks for watching, and stay tuned for more videos on the cases.